I'll be completely honest with you, I don't have a single doubt left. This is not just some random theory or a wild guess pulled out of thin air. This is something the show itself keeps making more and more obvious, practically shouting it from the rooftops. And if by the end of this breakdown you still think Aglaé is just a shy girl with a few phobias, trust me, you're gonna think twice. That normal episode everyone brushed off as nothing special? It's actually a puzzle full of hidden pieces. And when you start putting those pieces together, they all lead to one inevitable conclusion. Aglaé is not who she says she is. She could be Lila. She could be Crisalis, or at the very least, she might be working directly with her. But one thing's for sure, there's something much bigger going on behind this character. From the moment she first appeared, Aglaé has been a character that doesn't quite sit right. Her insecure personality, the anxiety attacks, the constant fears, everything about her seems carefully crafted to make the audience lower their guard around her. And yeah, a lot of fans fell for it. Poor thing, she's been through so much, she's traumatized, she's got phobias. But here's the problem, none of that really makes sense within the story. In a series where every single detail serves a narrative purpose, Aglaé's profile doesn't fit that of a throwaway side character. It fits someone who's infiltrating. Her shyness, her apparent fragility, her exaggerated fears, they're the perfect disguise for someone who needs everyone to believe she poses no threat at all. And once you watch the episode with that idea in mind, every single scene takes on a whole new meaning. The first major clue comes right at the end of the episode, in the end card. We see all the characters who were part of the picnic: Sabrina, Zoe, Juleka, Rose, Alix, Alia, Kagami, Kim, Ondine, Nino, Nathaniel, Max, Neelan, even Prem, a character so irrelevant, most people don't even remember his name. Aurora is there too, despite basically being a background extra. And Aglaé? Nowhere to be seen. This isn't some lazy animation mistake. This season they've gone out of their way to redesign even the most minor background characters. There's no way they just forgot to include her. If she's missing, it's because they want her missing. And in storytelling, that's called intentionality. Now let's talk about an even more unsettling detail. During the cake scene, every single character gets up and walks together to sing happy birthday to Alix. Everyone, except one. Aglaé walks in the opposite direction. From that moment on, she disappears from the episode. She's no longer at the picnic, she doesn't show up in any later scenes, and she has zero involvement in the birthday moment. And just a few minutes later, an akumatized villain suddenly appears. Coincidence? Not a chance. When a character slips away and right after an attack occurs, that's the story sending you a message. Someone is pulling the strings behind the scenes. Throughout the entire fight, there's one detail most people miss unless they're paying very close attention. Aglaé is nowhere to be found. She's not in the picnic shots, she doesn't appear in the characters' flashbacks, and she's not part of the ending. It's like she was never there to begin with. And yet, we know she was. We saw her with everyone at the start. But here's the kicker. She's still missing at the very end of the episode. Even in the final scene, where every single character gathers, including the most irrelevant background extras, she's still absent. This isn't a slip-up, it's deliberate. And in a series like this, when the writers intentionally hide a character during key moments, it sits because that character is hiding something. The final nail in the coffin comes in the form of a seemingly harmless line. Near the end of the episode, Lila starts to suspect that Marinette might be Ladybug because Marinette was the only one who didn't attend the picnic. And here's where things get really interesting. The only person who noticed that at the time was Aglaé. She's the one who pointed out Marinette's absence. And when you think about it, that comment carries a lot of weight. Why her of all people? Why was she the one to bring it up? At first, it might seem like an innocent observation, but when you combine it with Lila's suspicion, it suddenly becomes a crucial piece of evidence. It's almost as if the two of them were working together, setting the stage to eventually expose Ladybug's true identity. There's one more clue. Almost nobody noticed the direction Aglaé walks when she leaves. She doesn't just wander off aimlessly, she heads directly toward the exit of the park. And what sips in that direction? None other than the spot where Alix's father was arguing with the fencing teacher and a local politician. Why would she go there? There's absolutely no logical reason for it. And yet, that's exactly where she goes. This is no coincidence. It's a clear narrative choice. The character leaves the group, heads for the exit, and moments later, the Akuma appears. Everything lines up way too perfectly. Once you piece all these clues together, the picture becomes way too clear to ignore. She disappears just seconds before the Akuma shows up. She's missing from the final scene. even though irrelevant characters are there. She's the only one who notices Marinette isn't around. She walks straight toward the Park Sip's exit. Another person was akumatized right after she left. All of this can't just be coincidence. This is a pattern, and when the same pattern repeats this consistently, it means someone is pulling the strings behind everything. Let's talk about the previous episode, the one centered around Aglaé's phobias, especially her fear of butterflies. At first glance, it might seem like a small, insignificant detail, but in reality, it's a masterstroke. What better way to throw everyone off than by making the character most likely tied to the butterfly Miraculous afraid of butterflies? It's the perfect alibi. And the most unsettling part is that we have no way of verifying that story. We simply believe her because she looks vulnerable. But what if she akumatized herself, just like Gabriel used to? What if that was her way of transforming into Lady Butterfly? And let's not forget the one time we did see her akumatized, her powers were directly inspired by a butterfly. Coincidence? I don't think so. She even says she's afraid of ladybugs too. And what is Ladybug's Miraculous? Exactly. Ladybug's suit is based on a ladybug. The symbolism is way too obvious to ignore. Another key moment in the latest episode comes when Aglaé asks, "Who sips Alix?" It might seem like a throwaway line, but there's a big problem. Alix is the only hero whose identity is publicly known. Everyone knows who she is. So how is it possible that Aglaé doesn't stit? What might look like innocent ignorance is actually more evidence that she's pretending. It's a calculated way of staying off the radar, so that no one suspects she knows far more than she's letting on. Some might argue that during her therapy session, the psychologist mentioned speaking with Aglaé's father, and that Lila doesn't have a father. But let's not forget something crucial. Lila can change her voice with the Miraculous. She can disguise herself, lie, and even akumatize herself to create entirely new identities. So that little detail proves nothing. In fact, it only reinforces the idea that she has all the tools she needs to build a fake identity whenever she wants. And if you think all of this is just overanalyzing, consider this in the episode Reckless Driver. Right after Aglaé leaves for her therapy session, the psychologist is akumatized. Back then, it might have seemed like nothing more than a coincidence, just unfortunate timing. But now, with everything we know, it feels far more deliberate. Even the fact that the psychologist's akumatized powers are butterfly-themed, or that her backstory is completely unverifiable, points to one thing: Aglaé's character has been carefully built to fly under the radar until the moment the truth is finally revealed. After dissecting every detail, every scene, and every single line of dialogue, there's really only one way to put it. Aglaé is not who she says she is. Her behavior is full of red flags. She disappears at crucial moments, knows more than she lets on, plays innocent when she shouldn't, and is always nearby when something important happens. My conclusion is crystal clear. Aglaé is Lila, and if she isn't, then she's working side by side with her as part of a much bigger plan than we ever imagined. The show hasn't confirmed it officially yet, but the evidence is already on the table, and it all points in the same direction. And as is often the case in stories like this, when the puzzle pieces fit too perfectly, it's never coincidence. It's because the truth is closer than we think. In the world of Miraculous, the most dangerous enemies aren't always the ones who attack you head-on. Sometimes, the ones who can hurt you the most are those who earn your trust first, and Aglaé might just be the quietest and deadliest Trojan horse this series has ever seen.